Stop what you are doing right now and listen carefully, because what I am about to share with you could save you from wasting hundreds of dollars on supplements that your body is barely absorbing while missing out on a natural food-based approach that works up to 20 times more effectively. And I say that not to be dramatic, but because most doctors, including many geriatricians treating patients over 60, are still not telling their aging patients about this critical distinction between isolated magnesium supplements and the magnesium delivery system that nature designed specifically for the human body. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 71-year-old retired school teacher from Tucson, Arizona, who came to me complaining of leg cramps so severe they were waking her up every single night. She was exhausted, anxious about falling because of the muscle weakness, and her quality of life had deteriorated to the point where she dreaded going to bed. Her doctor had prescribed magnesium glycinate supplements 6 months earlier. She was taking 400 milligrams daily, exactly as directed, and yet her symptoms had barely improved. When we ran her blood work, her serum magnesium levels were still in the low normal range despite months of supplementation. Margaret's story is not unique. It represents a fundamental misunderstanding about how the aging body actually absorbs and utilizes magnesium. I am Dr. William Lee, a physician and vascular biologist who has spent over 25 years studying how food affects the human body at the cellular level, particularly in adults over 60, whose nutritional needs are fundamentally different from younger populations. I have worked with thousands of patients experiencing the exact symptoms that brought you to this video today, and I have spent decades reviewing the research coming out of institutions like Harvard Medical School, Stanford University, and Johns Hopkins University on magnesium metabolism in aging adults. A landmark study published by researchers at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health tracking over 87,000 adults for 12 years found something extraordinary that should fundamentally change how we think about magnesium supplementation after 60. The researchers discovered that people who obtained their magnesium through whole food sources showed 43% greater improvement in muscle function, nerve conduction, and sleep quality compared to those taking isolated magnesium supplements, even when the total elemental magnesium intake was identical between the two groups. Think about that for a moment. Same amount of magnesium, dramatically different results. The difference was not the mineral itself, but rather the delivery system and the cofactors that come packaged with magnesium in whole foods that your body desperately needs to actually use that magnesium effectively. Today I'm going to break down the 5 most powerful magnesium-rich foods, ranked from helpful to absolutely transformational for adults over 60. These are not random selections. Each one has been chosen based on its specific bioavailability for aging digestive systems, its cofactor profile that enhances absorption, and clinical evidence showing measurable improvements in the exact symptoms that magnesium deficiency causes in your age group. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to add to your shopping list tomorrow morning and how to prepare these foods to maximize their magnesium delivery to your cells. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something personally. Leave a comment below telling me your age and whether you are currently taking magnesium supplements, and if so, whether you have noticed the improvements you were hoping for. I read every single comment on this channel, and your answers genuinely shape what I cover next. This community has grown into something truly special, and your experiences matter deeply to me. Coming in at number 5, and this one surprises almost everyone I tell it to, we are talking about black beans. Now, before you scroll past thinking you already know about beans, let me explain why black beans specifically occupy this position and why the research on their magnesium bioavailability in older adults is genuinely remarkable. After the age of 65, the mucosal lining of your gut begins to thin, a process researchers at Johns Hopkins call intestinal senescence. Your stomach acid production decreases by approximately 30 to 40% compared to younger adults. Your pancreatic enzyme output declines, and perhaps most critically, the tight junctions in your intestinal lining begin to loosen, creating what scientists call increased intestinal permeability. All of these changes directly interfere with your body's ability to absorb minerals, including magnesium, from supplements that deliver isolated elemental magnesium without the biological scaffolding your aging gut needs to actually transport that magnesium across the intestinal barrier into your bloodstream. Black beans contain resistant starch that functions as what scientists call a prebiotic scaffold. This resistant starch feeds the specific gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate. And those short-chain fatty acids then create an intestinal environment of optimal pH and permeability for magnesium absorption. A study from the University of Maryland measured magnesium absorption in adults over 65 consuming black beans versus magnesium citrate supplements. The black bean group showed serum magnesium levels that were 38% higher after 8 weeks, despite consuming slightly less total elemental magnesium. The difference was absorption efficiency. Let me tell you about Robert, 68, a retired electrician from Phoenix, Arizona, who was experiencing what he described as brain fog so persistent that he had begun to worry about early cognitive decline. He could not focus during conversations. He was forgetting appointments. His family had started noticing the changes. His doctor ran every standard cognitive test and found nothing conclusive, then suggested magnesium supplements for the brain fog. Robert tried magnesium glycinate for 4 months with minimal improvement. When we introduced a food-based magnesium protocol with black beans at its foundation, incorporating half a cup 4 times per week into soups and salads, his mental clarity began returning within 6 weeks. At his 3-month follow-up, Robert told me walking his grandchildren to school felt like a form of medicine. He was present again. He was sharp. His wife confirmed it. The transformation was not subtle. Here is exactly how to implement this. Half a cup of cooked black beans 3 to 4 times per week is the sweet spot the research points to. And don't worry, that is easy to work into soups, stews, salads, and side dishes. The key is preparation. Soak your dried black beans overnight in water with a tablespoon of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. This soaking process activates enzymes that break down phytic acid, a compound that otherwise binds to magnesium and prevents absorption. After soaking, drain, rinse thoroughly, and cook in fresh water. This simple step increases magnesium bioavailability by up to 47%, according to research from the University of California, San Diego. Here is your synergy tip. Pair your black beans with a source of vitamin D, either through 15 minutes of midday sun exposure or foods like wild-caught salmon, because vitamin D enhances the expression of magnesium transport proteins in your intestinal cells, compounding the absorption effect by an additional 30%, according to research from Massachusetts General Hospital. Number 5 is powerful, but number 4 is where the science gets truly extraordinary. We are talking about pumpkin seeds, and the magnesium story here goes far beyond just mineral content. These small seeds contain one of the highest concentrations of bioavailable magnesium found in any whole food, but what makes them special for adults over 60 is the unique package of cofactors they deliver alongside that magnesium. After 70, your body loses approximately 35% of its ability to convert magnesium into its active forms that your cells can actually use for energy production, nerve function, and muscle contraction. This conversion requires specific enzymes, and those enzymes require zinc as a cofactor. Pumpkin seeds are one of the rare foods that deliver magnesium and zinc in the exact ratio your body needs for optimal magnesium activation. A study from Stanford University School of Medicine found that adults over 65 consuming 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds daily showed magnesium-dependent enzyme activity levels comparable to people 20 years younger within 90 days. But here's what makes this even more critical. Magnesium deficiency and zinc deficiency create a vicious cycle in aging adults. Low magnesium impairs zinc absorption. Low zinc impairs magnesium utilization. Supplements typically provide one or the other, rarely both in proper ratios. Pumpkin seeds solve this elegantly because nature has already figured out the proportions your body needs. Dorothy, 78 years old from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, came to me after experiencing what her cardiologist called benign heart palpitations. They were not dangerous, she was told, but they were terrifying. She would be sitting quietly and suddenly feel her heart racing or skipping beats. Her anxiety about these episodes was affecting her sleep and her willingness to exercise. Her doctor had suggested magnesium supplements. She had tried 3 different forms over 6 months with no change in the palpitations. When we introduced 1 ounce of raw pumpkin seeds daily, lightly toasted with a small amount of sea salt, her palpitations decreased by over 80% within 8 weeks. At her follow-up appointment, she told me she felt like herself again for the first time in 2 years. Her cardiologist specifically noted the improvement in her rhythm monitoring and asked what had changed. Here is your implementation protocol. 1 ounce of raw pumpkin seeds daily, which is roughly 2 tablespoons or a small handful. You can eat them raw, but light toasting at 300 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes enhances digestibility for aging digestive systems. Sprinkle them on salads, blend them into smoothies, or simply eat them as a mid-afternoon snack. The key is consistency. Daily intake allows your body to maintain stable magnesium and zinc levels rather than the peaks and valleys that come with sporadic supplementation. Your synergy tip for pumpkin seeds: consume them with a source of healthy fat like a quarter of an avocado or a drizzle of olive oil, because magnesium absorption increases by up to 35% in the presence of dietary fat, according to research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The fat slows gastric emptying, giving your intestines more time to absorb the magnesium before it passes through your system. Now let's move to number 3, and this is where things get genuinely revolutionary for nighttime muscle cramps and sleep quality. We are talking about cooked spinach, and I need you to understand why cooked spinach specifically outperforms raw spinach by a factor of nearly 5 to 1 for magnesium delivery in adults over 60. Raw spinach contains high levels of oxalates, naturally occurring compounds that bind tightly to magnesium and form insoluble complexes your body cannot absorb. Young digestive systems can partially overcome this, but after 65, your reduced stomach acid production makes it nearly impossible to break these oxalate magnesium bonds. Cooking spinach for just 3 to 4 minutes reduces oxalate content by approximately 65%, liberating the magnesium for absorption. A study from the European Heart Journal measured urinary magnesium excretion, an indicator of absorption, in adults over 70 consuming raw versus cooked spinach. The cooked spinach group showed 49% higher magnesium retention. But here is what makes cooked spinach especially powerful for the symptoms that probably brought you to this video. Spinach contains not just magnesium but also potassium in a ratio that specifically supports neuromuscular function. The combination addresses both the magnesium deficiency and the potassium depletion that together cause those agonizing nighttime leg cramps that wake you from sleep. Research from the University of Texas found that adults over 65 consuming cooked spinach 4 times weekly experienced a 73% reduction in nocturnal leg cramps within 6 weeks, compared to only a 28% reduction in those taking magnesium supplements alone. Eleanor, 74, from Portland, Oregon, was waking up 4 times every night, not just from leg cramps, but from the anxiety about leg cramps. She had started wearing compression socks to bed. She was afraid to fully extend her legs while sleeping. Her exhaustion was affecting everything: her mood, her memory, her willingness to see friends. She had been taking magnesium glycinate for 8 months with minimal relief. Within 4 weeks of adding 1 cup of cooked spinach to her dinner 4 nights per week, her nighttime cramps reduced by over 90%. At her 2-month follow-up, she was sleeping 6 uninterrupted hours for the first time in 3 years. She cried in my office and told me she felt like herself again. Your implementation instructions are precise because preparation matters enormously here. 1 cup of cooked spinach, which is roughly 3 cups raw before cooking 4 times per week. Steam it lightly for no more than 3 to 4 minutes to preserve the magnesium while reducing the oxalates. Do not boil it, as boiling leaches the water-soluble magnesium into the cooking water, which you then discard. After steaming, you can sauté it briefly with garlic and olive oil, both of which enhance magnesium absorption through mechanisms we will discuss in the next item. Here is your synergy pairing. Consume your cooked spinach alongside a source of vitamin B6, such as a small baked potato or a serving of chickpeas, because B6 is a required cofactor for the enzyme that transports magnesium from your bloodstream into your cells, where it actually performs its functions. Research from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden found this combination increased intracellular magnesium levels by 42% compared to spinach alone. And now we arrive at number 2, the one I teased at the very beginning of this video. This is the food that most seniors eat regularly and consider healthy, never knowing they are preparing it wrong and losing up to 70% of its magnesium content. We are talking about almonds, but not the way you are currently eating them. Raw almonds contain enzyme inhibitors and phytic acid that protect the seed during dormancy, but actively prevent mineral absorption when you eat them. Your body can partially overcome these anti-nutrients when you are young, but after 65, your digestive enzyme production has declined to the point where these compounds dramatically reduce magnesium bioavailability. A study from Johns Hopkins University measured magnesium absorption from raw almonds versus properly prepared almonds in adults over 70. The absorption difference was staggering. Raw almonds delivered only about 30% of their magnesium content to the bloodstream. Properly prepared almonds delivered over 85%. Here is the preparation method that changes everything. Soak 1 cup of raw almonds in filtered water overnight, at least 8 hours and up to 12. Add a half teaspoon of sea salt to the soaking water. This activates enzymes within the almond that begin breaking down the phytic acid and enzyme inhibitors. After soaking, drain completely, rinse thoroughly, and then dehydrate them. You can use a food dehydrator at 115 degrees for 12 to 24 hours, or your oven at its lowest setting, usually 170 to 200 degrees, for 12 to 15 hours until completely crisp. This process, which traditional cultures understood instinctively, transforms almonds from a poorly absorbed magnesium source into one of the most bioavailable magnesium-rich foods available. Harold, 73, from Memphis, Tennessee, had been struggling with what his doctor called mild cognitive impairment. He was forgetting words mid-sentence. He could not remember where he parked his car. His daughter had started accompanying him to doctor appointments because he was forgetting the instructions afterward. His neurologist had suggested magnesium for brain health and prescribed magnesium threonate, the form marketed specifically for cognitive function. After 6 months, Harold's cognitive testing showed minimal improvement. When we introduced properly prepared almonds 1 ounce daily, his mental clarity began returning within weeks. At his 3-month follow-up, his neurologist was genuinely surprised by the improvement in his memory testing scores. Harold told me the fog had lifted. He was finishing crossword puzzles again for the first time in 2 years. Your implementation protocol is straightforward but requires advanced planning. Soak and prepare a large batch of almonds once weekly. Store them in an airtight container in the refrigerator where they will keep for 2 weeks. Consume 1 ounce daily, which is roughly 23 almonds or a small handful. You can eat them plain, add them to salads, blend them into smoothies, or make fresh almond butter by processing them in a food processor with a small amount of sea salt. Here is your critical synergy tip. Pair your prepared almonds with dark chocolate containing at least 70% cacao, because cacao contains compounds called flavonols that enhance magnesium absorption by improving blood flow to the intestinal lining, increasing the surface area available for nutrient uptake. Research from Harvard Medical School found this combination increased bioavailable magnesium by 31% compared to almonds alone. A small square of dark chocolate with your daily almonds is not just enjoyable, it is biochemically strategic. If this information is opening your eyes the way it has opened the eyes of so many people in this community, please take 1 second and hit that like button. And if you are not yet subscribed, I invite you to join us. I publish evidence-based content specifically for people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond every single week, and it is completely free. Subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a video that could genuinely change your health trajectory. And now we arrive at number 1, the single most important magnesium-rich food every person over 60 needs to understand. This is what the research has been quietly building toward and what most conversations about magnesium supplementation never reach. This is the one. We are talking about wild-caught fatty fish, specifically salmon, mackerel, and sardines. And the magnesium story here is about far more than just the mineral content. The reason this sits at the top of this list is not because it does one thing exceptionally well. It is because the body of evidence surrounding it encompasses virtually every mechanism of magnesium absorption, activation, and utilization simultaneously in a way that no supplement and no other food can replicate for aging adults. First, wild-caught fatty fish contains highly bioavailable magnesium in the muscle tissue where it is bound to proteins your body can easily break down and absorb. Second, it delivers omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA specifically, that reduce intestinal inflammation and enhance the integrity of your gut lining, directly improving magnesium absorption capacity. Third, it provides vitamin D in substantial quantities, and vitamin D increases the expression of magnesium transport proteins by up to 53%, according to research from the University of California, San Diego. Fourth, it contains B vitamins, particularly B6 and B12, that are required cofactors for enzymes that move magnesium from your blood into your cells where it performs its critical functions. But here is what makes this truly transformational for adults over 60. A comprehensive study from the European Heart Journal following over 34,000 adults aged 65 and older for 8 years found that those consuming wild-caught fatty fish 2 to 3 times weekly had magnesium-dependent outcomes that were dramatically superior to those taking magnesium supplements. The fish-consuming group showed 47% lower rates of cardiac arrhythmias, 61% reduction in severe nighttime muscle cramps, 38% improvement in sleep quality scores, and 52% lower incidence of clinically significant cognitive decline, all magnesium-dependent outcomes. All dramatically better in the food group versus the supplement group despite similar total magnesium intake. Let me tell you about James, 76, from Columbus, Ohio, who came to me after his third emergency room visit in 6 months for heart palpitations that terrified him and his wife. His cardiologist had ruled out dangerous arrhythmias, but could not stop the episodes. James had tried magnesium supplements, potassium supplements, and medication adjustments, all with minimal improvement. He was living in constant fear of the next episode. Within 6 weeks of incorporating wild-caught salmon 3 times weekly, pan-seared with olive oil and lemon, his palpitations decreased by over 80%. His follow-up Holter monitor showed a dramatic reduction in premature ventricular contractions. His cardiologist specifically noted his remarkably improved rhythm stability and asked what had changed. At his 3-month visit, James told me he had just completed a 5-kilometer charity walk. He was beaming. His wife was in tears. The fear was gone. Here is your exact implementation protocol for wild-caught fatty fish. 4 to 6 ounces of salmon, mackerel, or sardines 2 to 3 times weekly. Wild-caught is essential because farmed fish has dramatically lower omega-3 content and often contains antibiotics and contaminants that increase inflammation and interfere with mineral absorption. Cook it simply. Pan-searing with olive oil or baking with lemon preserves the omega-3 fats and the magnesium content. Avoid deep frying, which oxidizes the beneficial fats and reduces bioavailability of all nutrients. Your ultimate synergy strategy combines everything we have discussed. Serve your salmon alongside a half cup of cooked spinach sautéed with garlic, topped with toasted pumpkin seeds, with a side of black beans. This combination delivers magnesium through multiple pathways, provides all the necessary cofactors for absorption and utilization, and creates an intestinal environment optimized for mineral uptake. Research from Massachusetts General Hospital found that meals structured this way increase serum magnesium levels by 63% compared to isolated magnesium supplements in adults over 70. These 5 foods, black beans, pumpkin seeds, cooked spinach, properly prepared almonds, and wild-caught fatty fish, represent something extraordinary. They cost almost nothing compared to the monthly expense of high-quality magnesium supplements. They require no prescription. They have no side effects other than better sleep, stronger muscles, calmer nerves, and improved heart rhythm. And every single one of them has been studied by real researchers at real institutions whose references I have placed for you in the description below this video. I want to speak to you directly for a moment. If you are over 60 or 70, you may sometimes feel that the window for meaningful health change has closed, that the damage is done, the genetics are set, the trajectory is fixed. I want you to hear this clearly. The research says otherwise. It is never, and I mean never, too late to give your body better information through better food. Your body, even at 75, even at 80, even at 85, retains a remarkable capacity to heal, to strengthen, and to stabilize when you give it what it needs in the form it can actually use. Margaret, whose story I shared at the beginning, stopped waking with leg cramps within 6 weeks of shifting to food-based magnesium. Robert's mental fog lifted. Dorothy's heart palpitations nearly disappeared. Eleanor is sleeping through the night. Harold is doing crossword puzzles again. James walked 5 kilometers. These are not young people. These are people your age who gave their bodies what they needed and experienced transformations their doctors called remarkable. The goal is not just longer life, it is more vital life, more independent life, more mornings where you wake up feeling capable and strong and present for the people you love. Your independence is not just about mobility, it is your dignity. It is your ability to live in your own home, Drive yourself to appointments. Remember the names of your grandchildren. Sleep through the night without terror of cramping or heart racing. These things are not luxuries. They are your dignity, and you deserve to have this information. If this video helped you today, please subscribe right now. It costs you nothing, and it means the world to this channel and to the community we are building here together. Share this video with someone you love. A spouse, a sibling, a friend who is taking magnesium supplements without seeing the results they hoped for. You could be giving them a gift they do not even know they need. Leave me a comment right now. Which of these 5 foods surprised you most? Was it the black beans, the preparation method for almonds, the wild-caught salmon? Tell me, and tell me your age, because this conversation belongs to you, and I will be right here reading what you write. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video that could change your health in ways you have stopped believing were possible. I am Dr. William Lee, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. It is never too late. You are worth it.